So while my first video was kind of an introduction telling you a bit about myself and what I do, this wasn't really my first official, I don't want to call it a vlog because it's not a video, just an audio recording. Think of this as a mini podcast, if you will. I don't intend to ever sit down and do an hour and a half long thing because one, I don't have the time, or I choose not to have the time, and two, that just seems really annoying to do something like that just by yourself for an hour and a half. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lot of shorter videos that hopefully will give you entertainment and or teach you something and or make you laugh depending on the mood I'm feeling in the day. Right now, it's kind of explanatory. So my username is mathmeistro. That kind of combines two things. First of all, before any of you internet trolls go out there, you didn't spell maestro correctly. I know that maestro is spelled M-A-E and not M-E-I. Okay, this is like my first main. I've used it since I was like 6. Maybe I was 6, maybe I was 8, I don't remember. It was sometime in grade school. But that was my very first username, and it's just kind of stuck with me since. I use it in games and stuff. And yeah, I didn't know how to spell maestro at the time, so I'm like, well, I like music, and I like math. Let's just slap them together. So yeah, that's been my main for a very long time. Just kind of going into each one individually now. I love math. I've always loved math. One of my very first computer games was a game where I had to learn like basic spelling and math and stuff like that. It was, I forget which one it was, but you advanced further on in the game based on how well you did. And that was one of my favorite video games growing up as a child. The other one being increased typing speed, which is something I haven't come to appreciate until very recently. Being able to type even semi-decently is a very useful skill that if you have not learned in life, I highly recommend you do. But I love math. I love all kinds of math. It's really weird which kinds of math I like, though. I like the extremes of math. I like the short, tiny little mental math problems math, or I like problems so enormously large they take up an entire page. All the stuff in between is pretty cool, but it's not, it's not really my cup of tea. I like the more extreme stuff. Either end of the extremes is okay for me. Now I've explained the math bit, onto the maestro bit. I love music. I really do love music. I've loved that ever since I was forever, really. I remember some of my very first CDs, and I would play them on a big old boombox that I had, and I still have it, actually. I don't use it often, though, because we're now in the age of phones and computers and iTunes and Spotify and whatever the heck you want to use. It's just more convenient to have it electronically than on a CD, You remember cassettes? Remember when you had the cassette and you had to actually go to the store and buy it and interact with someone? Now it's just click, click. Oh, now I have all of Green Day. I just use Green Day as a random example. I do like Green Day, though I would have to say that my two favorite bands of all time are, as of this moment, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and Pentatonix. Red Jumpsuit is my favorite instrumental band, Pentatonix is my favorite vocal band. And yes, I do consider them a band. They want to be considered a band, QED, they're a band. I like a cappella music, and pretty much all music in general, but especially a cappella, because just the all voices aspect is amazing to me. It's also kind of what inspired me to learn how to beatbox, which I may or may not do in a future video, I don't know. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And the reason I chose this username for my YouTube and literally every other bit of thing that I have that I can slap a username on is because I feel like it represents me well. I love math, I love music, and I love correcting people at the fact that I know mathmeistro is spelled wrong. Yes, once again, I know maestro has an A and not an I. Thank you. The point I'm trying to make is that this makes me happy, and I am happy with this name, and you should do something that makes you happy. If that means going out to the park and walking around with your significant other, cool. If that means staying at home and eating 3 dozen lava cakes and then proceeding to be ill in the bathroom, that is also fine. If that means just sitting around doing nothing all day and or sleeping and or just relaxing, that's totally okay. Do what makes you happy, and don't let anyone tell you different. Unless, of course, what makes you happy is illegal, in which case you probably should not do it, but I digress. The point is, it's good to have others in your mind, but it's also good to have yourself in your mind as well. I may be rambling, I don't care. It's my opinion, and sharing my opinion with you makes me happy. Thank you for listening.